You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the man who has become a legend in his own time. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh, wow. And what is good in the hood? What's up, everybody? Yours truly, Ron Kelly. He's back. Ron Kelly, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio Show. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today. Wow, lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. As soon as I get myself together here. Anyway, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I know I've been off the grid for a couple of days, but he's back. And you know what? You know, my whole situation is falling apart here. You know what? Let me take a quick break. Come right back with more. It's Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com. Wow. What's up, everybody? Ron Kelly, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And my whole world is falling apart right here. Everything is falling all over the place. Anyway, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's Thursday. It's April 14th already, 2022. Look at this. Everything is falling apart. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in to the Ron Kelly Show. Wow. Lots to talk about, but welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. Lots to talk about. I'll get to the subway shooting because I got some ideas about that. I'm just not that convinced with the subway shooting. Will and Jada, I mean, just so much to talk about. But I'd like to thank you so much, first of all, for joining me. Shout out to my sponsors. Shout out to my sponsors, Amica and Porterfield, and Aaron Naza's Tax Service. You know, and it's almost time. It's almost time to get those taxes done. So you might want to check out my homeboy Jose at Aaron Naza's Tax Service. So I'll get to that a little bit later on, in the program. But I want to thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And I know I've been off the grid a little bit. I just need to take a little bit of a break. Because this is tough stuff here. This radio business is tough stuff. I just needed to take a little bit of a break. I apologize for not letting people know that I was going to take a break. But anyway, so I'm talking to somebody yesterday about some of the things that are going on in this country right now. On April 4th, we had in Grand Rapids, Iowa. Grand Rapids, Iowa shooting that took place there. All right. Everything's going wrong today. Anyway, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining your homeboy. There was a shooting in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And they released a video of shooting of Patrick Lyoya, Lyoya, after a traffic stop. And people are so, and I guess that we are getting kind of, apathy is taking place in the Black community, everybody. Apathy. Because I mentioned to somebody yesterday, and they didn't even look up from what they were doing. Another Black man that I know. And I said, hey, man, there was another shooting yesterday of a Black man shot in the back of the head. Shot in the back of the head. Just unbelievable. And, and there have been some protests, I understand. There's been some protests because the man was on the ground. Patrick Lyoya was on the ground, on his face down on the ground, and the police officer was on top of him. And 26 years old, Patrick Lyoya, wound up dead, shot in the back of the head. And then in another shooting, a 54-year-old grandmother was killed because she resisted, just like Patrick Lyoya resisted. And I peruse Facebook a lot, because I'm trying to get an idea of what people think about some of this stuff. And, in white folks, for the most part, you say, well, stop resisting. Stop resisting. Don't resist. But even if you do resist, you're not supposed to wind up dead, even if you do resist. Even if you do resist, you're not supposed to wind up dead. You're not supposed to wind up dead. And this is what white folks, are saying about this whole situation. This is what white folks are saying about this whole situation. Man, I'm out of sorts today. This is what white folks are saying about the situation. That, oh, man, you shouldn't resist. Why are you resisting? Because you resist and you won't get killed. Well, even if you do resist, you're still not supposed to get killed. Come on. But the apathy is taking place in the Black community because our folks, unless see what's happening with some of these things is that Black folks who live in those areas are the ones who are protesting for the most part. Now with the George Floyd situation, you had protests all over the country, all over the world. The George Floyd situation was an aberration because people protested all over the world about George Floyd. But some of these other, Dante and some of these other people, the young man who was killed, Mr. Locke, the young man who was killed when the Minneapolis Police Department crashed into the house that he was staying in. And he was not a subject of the investigation. He was not on the wanted list. And he still wound up being killed because they crashed in with the no-knock warrant. He woke up and he had his gun in his hand. And they killed him, and they were found not to be charged. So the Minnesota police officers who killed the young brother got away with it, basically. And this is what happens most of the time. But, in the Black community, for the most part, folks are our people have apathy, meaning that, they don't care. You know what I'm saying? And this is what's going on right now in the Black community. So anyway, it's 12 minutes past the hour. You know where you're at. You're listening to the Ron Kelly Show. The one person who's listening to the Ron Kelly Show. Oh, but I guess I got to do better. There's only one person. There's people on YouTube and Twitter who are partaking of the Ron Kelly Show. I thank you for that. But yeah. So a 54-year-old grandma in Stockton, California was killed by the police. The young man in Minnesota, Amir Locke, was killed by the police. And Patrick Loyola, 26 years old, was killed by the police. And see, this stuff, I really didn't want to open with this, but, let me start with this. So this stuff, years ago, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, United States of America, came out with a report. And the report said that there were white supremacists who were joining police departments all across the country. You see? And so when you go into it's easy to pass the psych test, get into the police department. And when when you go to the academy, you don't have like races scrawled across your forehead. You don't have that scrawled across your forehead. Okay, yes, we are live on Twitter, by the way, right now. We are live on Twitter. The Ron Kelly Show. At Ron Kell 45409-166. That's the Twitter handle. Looks like there's 11 people watching on Twitter. Okay. Okay. All right. So so that's the situation right now. I mean, and there is some apathy taking place in the United States of America. There's apathy where our people are just I wouldn't say they don't care, but I guess we're just getting kind of used to this stuff where, it doesn't bother us as much as it used to. It bothers us less and less and less. Okay, I need to take an opportunity to let you guys know that the views and opinions expressed here are exclusively those of myself and R. Kelly Media Enterprise LLC and are not those of my advertisers or my support team who helped me get this thing together here on the Ron Kelly Show. So after the break, we'll talk a little bit about doing for self. Marcus Garvey said, do for self. And we're going to talk about that. And right after the break, it's 15 minutes past the hour. So I'm going to tell you, I took a break from the radio show because I noticed that there were a lot of people were not listening, not signing on to the Ron Kelly Show as many as they used to. And the attendance or it dropped off dramatically. The attendance, the listeners dropped off dramatically. So I kind of decided that I was going to take a break from the radio show because I'm thinking like I must be doing something wrong because everybody's leaving the show. Nobody's watching the show as much as they used to. I mean, this board used to be lit up with comments and I can see the viewers, most of them. And it got to the point where just nobody was listening to the show. And I'm like, well, what am I doing wrong? So I felt like I needed to take a little break to give y'all an opportunity to miss a brother because it is kind of disheartening. You got this great show going on and there's people listening to people commenting. And then it gets to the point where just everybody just disappeared. So, and I understand that things change and people's schedules change and they work at night and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm like, wow, nobody's listening to the Ron Kelly Show. Nobody's watching the Ron Kelly Show. And I don't normally let that kind of stuff bother me, but I did, but it did. It bothered me, And many of the folks who listen to the show, who usually listen to the show, were just dropping off. So, and somebody's texting me. Yeah. So, and I was going to get someone to host the show for me in the interim, but people are just so unreliable. All right, 17 minutes. It's almost 18 minutes past the hour. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back with more of this program. It's the Ron Kelly Show, everybody, and it's on Facebook Live, the Ron Kelly Show on Twitter and on YouTube. We'll be back in a moment with more. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the Ron Kelly Show. The Ron Kelly Show.com. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube Live. It's on Facebook Live, and it's on Twitter Live. So thank you to those who have supported the Ron Kelly Show over the years. I really do appreciate it. American Porterfield has been in business since 1981. American Porterfield Transportation has provided safe, clean, reliable transportation to and from your destination. American Porterfield Transportation provides service to schools, churches, and provides medical transportation as well. Fully licensed by the New Jersey State Department of Transportation, a late model fleet of buses and vehicles to make sure you get to and from your destination safely, and their courteous drivers will see to your needs during your transportation experience. They're located at 307 Arlington Avenue in Plainfield, New Jersey. Give them a call, 908-753-6423. That's 908-753-6423, or email them, if you will. It's amica.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amica.porterfield@verizon.net. 20 minutes past the hour, everybody. This is the Ron Kelly Show. You know, and Miss Porterfield has built her business up from the ground up. And has been in business for a long time. Black-owned transportation company, you know. And Marcus Garvey said, and I was talking to somebody about this the other night, about what Marcus Garvey do for self. You know, and there's a situation where and I hear Black folks, entrepreneurs or potential entrepreneurs who talk about not being able to get loans, you know. And you know, so when you go to the bank, you got to have your ish together. You know, you got to have your business plan together. You got to you got to talk about how you're going to pay that money back, because that's what the bank is interested in. They want to know how you're going to pay back your loan, how you're going to keep your business afloat, and how you're going to pay back that loan. And if you don't have it together, they're not going to give you any money. Now, I understand that, you know, that there are some redlining and there's some people who just don't want to give any money to Black folks. And I get that. But, you know, we got a lot of Black millionaires, football, basketball, baseball, you know. Deshaun Watson just signed with the Cleveland Browns for $230 million guaranteed. That means all the money that he gets is guaranteed. $230 million. This is for 4 years for one person. $230 million, fully guaranteed. You know, in basketball, the contracts automatically are fully guaranteed. So they don't talk too much about contracts being fully guaranteed in basketball, because in basketball, all contracts are fully guaranteed. So you got people like Steph Curry and so on, and brother from the Nets. I mean, you have some people who are making tons of money, And I just think that maybe we can maybe we can create our own bank. Let's say if every NBA player who's making a lot of money put $1 million a piece. Let's say 100 players put $1 million a piece. It's $100 million. And that money can be sectioned out to potential entrepreneurs who want to start a business. See, we have to we have to do for self. We have to do for self. We have to begin to try to do for self because nobody's going to do it for us. So I think that would be a good idea to have the people, millionaires, basketball millionaires, football millionaires, baseball millionaires, black folks, to give $1 million apiece, $500,000 apiece. You can write it off, so it's not like they're going to lose anything. And a fund can be created to help black people start their businesses, where you don't have to rely on white folks. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea. So we had the shooting in the subway. I just can't put it together. I just can't put this together with this subway shooting. It just seems so weird. You got an overweight old man who's being accused of this. And the pieces to me just don't fit the way I think that they should fit. I just can't. It just doesn't compute in my mind. It doesn't compute. But now I'm not saying that he didn't do it, but it's just the whole thing is just wrong. You got a 62-year-old black man who called the police and told the police where he was. It's just unbelievable. And I just don't understand. I mean, why would you call the police unless you're looking to turn yourself in? And he called, from what I understand, I guess he wanted to collect his own reward, but he called the police, from what I understand, and he wasn't, and told them where he was. Now, he wasn't there when they got there. He was a few blocks away because, they saturated the neighborhood with cops, and they did eventually find the guy. It just doesn't work for me, Shout out to Suzanne Newman, who's watching the Ron Kelly show. Thank you, Suzanne, for supporting me. Your undying, unyielding support. Yeah, but this thing with the subway shooting just doesn't seem right. I mean, the guy doesn't even look like he can run, and it just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to me. But if he is guilty, I'm glad that they caught the guy. Ron Kelly show is on Twitter live, by the way, if you want to. For you Twitter maniacs, you can go to Twitter and you can watch the Ron Kelly show. You can watch me on YouTube live right now and Facebook live. And I just checked the feed, and yes, we are on Twitter. So this whole thing with the it just doesn't compute to me. It just doesn't compute. Anyway, it's 26 minutes past the hour. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It just doesn't compute to me what happened with the subway shooter. I just don't get it. Anyway, everybody, it's almost half past the hour. And yeah, it's almost half past the hour. So I'm like, I just don't get it with the subway shooting. It just doesn't compute to me. So everybody's waiting in bated breath to see if we're going to go to nuclear war, including myself. And I'm praying, like, please, Putin, putrid, whatever your name is, don't cross into NATO territory because there's going to be a problem. So I understand that Chris Rock got a lawyer, hired a big pockets law firm to handle what could be potentially a lawsuit. You know, and there are people on both sides of the coin here. Some people support Will Smith, and some people support Chris Rock. So I guess the people who like Will support Will, and the people who like Chris support Chris. Now, I like both of them. I was always a big Will Smith fan. I thought Will Smith was a fantastic actor, especially in I Am Legend, because I Am Legend he did basically by himself. And the lady came in at the end, but Will Smith acted in I Am Legend, and I think it was one of his better movies. He acted in that movie by himself. It was just him and that dog. And then that lady came in near the end of the movie. And finally, there was somebody that he could act with. But Will Smith, you know, and you see, I just don't understand how Jada could sit there. Because, you know, she could have stopped him. She didn't stop him. She could have stopped him. So she let him throw his career down the tubes. Because it took away from all the people who worked hard. It took away from the people who worked hard to get those awards. Suzanne Newman says great. Suzanne Newman says great movie. Absolutely. I Am Legend was one of his best movies because he did it by himself. And then the one he did with his son was a stinker. But I mean, all movies are not going to be great. So and Jada sat there and see, because Will laughed at first. You know, Will laughed at the joke because the joke was funny. And I thought it was funny too. But then when Jada put the screw face on, Will walked up there, and just the poor choice, just the poorest choice of actions by walking up there and smacking the guy in the face in front of millions of people. I just don't understand, you know. I don't understand why. Okay. I don't understand why Will did what he did. I just don't get it, you know. Because you smacked the guy in the face, and she allowed him to go up there and smack the guy in the face. And then he won the Best Actor Oscar like a half an hour later. So it took away from everything. It destroyed the mood. The people who won the awards, people who worked so hard. Questlove, for example, won for his documentary. And I think it was Questlove, yeah. And it just killed it. Because the whole focus was on Will now and what Will did. Just horrible. So, it's just terrible. It was just a bad idea all the way around. And I don't understand how she sat there and watched him throw his career away. I mean, he's going to take a hit for this. You know, he's definitely going to take a hit for what happened. You know, he's definitely going to take a hit. But I just think that it's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Anyway, everybody, it's 31 minutes past the hour. Suzanne says Jada's podcast, too much private information made public. Every press interview they brought up her entanglement. Yeah. And they just got the weirdest marriage. You know, it's just so weird. And, you know, and she says that they were separated at the time that she got involved with this dude. So is that what you do when you're having marital trouble? You run off and be with somebody else? I mean, is that how it works? You know, you just run off and be with somebody else. So and now she's saying that she was forced to marry Will. You know, she's saying that she didn't want to marry Will, and she cried on her wedding day. I mean, all of this stuff is coming out now about her. Now, is it true? You have to watch that Red Table, whatever it is, that the Red Table Talk, something like that she has going on Facebook Live. I think it is Red Table Talk. Yeah, you have to watch that to to see, and you're right, Suzanne, that Will, it was too much private information. That should have never came out. They should have swept that under the rug. They should have swept that under the rug. I don't understand why they even mentioned that. But they got the weirdest marriage. I mean, it's an odd couple, and it's a weird marriage. They've been married for 25 years. I think Will is stuck because if he divorces her, he's going to have to give up a lot of money. Now, he'll survive. I mean, he'll have plenty left. But, he'll have to do he'll be doing like a Tiger Woods. But Tiger Woods had to give his wife $100 million or whatever the case may be. But Tiger Woods is worth almost $1 billion. So it didn't really kill him to give her that money. And he didn't fight anyway. So, yeah, it's ugly. 33 minutes past the hour. It's very ugly. So, yeah, I'm lost right now. It's just horrible. It was just a bad situation. And, when are you going to recover from all of this stuff? Can't understand. I just don't understand what's going on. 34 minutes past the hour. No, I haven't sniffed anything. My nose just feels kind of strange. No, I wasn't sniffing anything, so there's no coke in my nose. Oh, boy. So are you guys tired of Ukraine yet? I mean, are you tired of Ukraine yet? And I don't mean that you got to be tired, but, there's been a lot of talk about what's going on over there. And you just feel bad for those people. I mean, Putin just came along and just started blowing them. And you look at the videos, and the towns are just destroyed. The buildings and they're never gonna. It seems to me like it's gonna take 100 years for them to rebuild that country. Lamont Gates says isn't it the end of the world? Oh, you know what, Lamont Gates? I don't know. But so people. When you look at the video, you just can't help but feel bad for those people in Ukraine, because Russia is just destroying their country for no apparent reason. He's destroying their country. Now, you got to give the Ukrainians credit, though. There's some badasses, because they pushed the Russians back, and then Russia had a warship in the Black Sea, and from what I understand, the Ukrainians blew it up. I mean, they didn't destroy it, but they did damage it. So these people, you got to give the Ukrainians credit. And see, we're giving them weapons. The United States is giving them weapons, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of weapons. And you got people sleeping on the street here in America. You have people in homeless encampments and stuff like that. And we're giving Ukraine almost $1 billion so far in weapons and money, and but we can't take care of our own people. And that's been the story of America, the United States of America. I mean, while we are the world's police, unfortunately, because who else is going to do it? So we're like the world's police. And we're giving a lot of money to Ukraine, hundreds of millions of dollars. And again, we're struggling to and we can't forgive student loans, student debt, but we can send $750 million to Ukraine. But I get it; it's politics. And we have to have a presence over there, because there's 3 or 4 countries on the border of more countries on the border of Russia, Poland, and Latvia, Lithuania, and some of these other countries who are right on the border of Russia, just like Ukraine was. So you got to wonder if Putin is going to try to move into one of those NATO countries. And if he does, it's going to be a problem because, the United States can't stand by and let Putin crash into a NATO country. We can't let him do that. So you better keep your fingers crossed that Putin doesn't go into Poland, for example, or Latvia, Lithuania, and some of these other countries, the former Czech Republic, and some of these other countries. We got to make, hopefully he won't go in. But I opened the show, and in the very beginning of the show, I did talk about the police shootings that have taken place. A couple of them. It's a 54-year-old black woman, grandma, was killed by the Stockton, California police, and in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a young black man, 26 years old, was killed while he was on his face down and the police officer was on top of him, but he was resisting. And the guy was resisting, and the police officer shot him in the back of the head. And these things are, the apathy is taking place in the United States of America amongst black folks because unless it happened in our own neighborhood, we just really don't care that much because there hasn't been any protests in New York or Chicago or LA, St. Louis, some of the other concentration of black folks. There hasn't been much said at all besides the people in Grand Rapids where it actually happened. And so we're kind of accepting that black folks can be killed for having an air freshener on their rearview mirror. We're accepting this stuff, because nobody's saying anything. Reverend Al, I haven't seen Reverend Al in a minute. Nobody's saying anything about this stuff. And like I said, we were warned by the FBI. We were warned by the FBI several years back, more than a decade, about white supremacists joining police departments. We were warned about this stuff. And now it's coming to pass. And again, we're kind of like, oh, really? Oh, wow, that's messed up. And that's all. And we don't, we're not really paying attention to this stuff, which is really really sad. So, okay, it's 20 minutes before the hour. Let's take a quick break and we'll come right back. With more, it's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We are back, everybody. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, and also on YouTube Live. It's about 19 minutes before the hour. It's April 14th already, 2022, and I'll be heading to Florida. Maybe I shouldn't tell everybody that because now you can come rob my house. Friday, we'll be out of here. Saturday, rather, be out of here. Heading down to sunny Florida together with some friends. Atlanta, I'm sorry. Atlanta. Okay, everybody, it's why do I keep saying Florida? I guess I got to go down there. Anyway, it's 18 minutes before the hour. Suzanne Newman is crying. Okay. Lamont Gates says this is the end of the world. I don't know, Lamont Gates. I don't know. From the biblical standpoint, in the Bible, the last war is supposed to take place in the Middle East, not in the European Union, the EU. It's not supposed to take. It's not supposed to take place there. The last days, the war of wars, the Third World War, is supposed to take place in, according to the Bible, it's supposed to take place. And Lamont Gates, maybe you can help me out with this. It was supposed to take place in the Middle East, in Jerusalem, in Israel, down that way, when the Arab was supposed to gang up on Israel, and then that's how the whole thing's supposed to get started. So I don't know, if it's actually going to be, if the last war, the war of wars, is going to take place in the EU. I don't know. But according to the Bible, the Revelations, it says that it's going to take place in the Middle East, that the armies are going to gather in the Middle East, and that's how it's going to start. But it's very dangerous times right now. Very dangerous times. I've had some series of losses. My brother passed away a couple weeks ago, and my stepdaughter passed away earlier this week. So there's a lot of death around. Lots of death. Peace be upon my stepdaughter. The picture I posted on Facebook was the picture of me and her that she had in her phone. And that's an old picture. And she had that picture in her phone. That's love. And she was young. She was only 39, I think. So, wow. Yeah. And then my brother passed away a couple weeks ago. A lot of loss lately. Lots of loss. 15 minutes before the hour. Lots of loss. And the funeral for my stepdaughter was today. I couldn't go because I'd been off from my brother's death, and the job just wasn't having it. The funeral was in Albany, New York. So lots going on, lots of stuff going on. And like I said, I just don't get it's just the pieces. You got a overweight, elderly black man. Thank you, my brother, Bunny McKnight. Thank you. Some of my people are coming back because I hadn't seen you guys. Lamont Gates and some of the folks who listen to the show on a regular basis that just disappeared, dropped off the face of the earth. Didn't see anybody. I'm like, wow. But yeah, thank you, my brother. Thank you so much for the condolences. Appreciate it. So I just don't get it with this subway shooter. It reminds me of the Wayne Williams, the Atlanta child murders. Y'all remember that, the Atlanta child murders. And I think the guy's name was Wayne Williams. And he just didn't fit the what you would think would normally the person would look like. It just doesn't fit. I mean, this guy probably couldn't even have run. I mean, how did he get out of the stage so fast? Because he sure looked like he couldn't run 5-10 yards. And Suzanne Newman says she's going to say it's a white guy MO. Right, exactly. It's a white person's MO. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And see, black folks, we shoot the people we know. If we shoot at somebody, we mean to shoot at them, unless it's a stray bullet that hits somebody, as it did in the Bronx. Today, I believe it was yesterday, a young lady sitting in her car, 23 years old, was killed by a stray bullet. There was another lady, 61 years old, just minding the business, headed home from work, and she was shot in the back by a stray bullet. And see, this stuff, thank you, Suzanne Newman, for being courageous enough to say that, and it just doesn't fit. But there's a lot of gun violence going on in the country, in the United States of America. There's 400 million guns. There's no way you're going to stop gun violence when there's that many guns, you know, this is guns everywhere. 400 million guns, 300 million people. You do the math. It's just unbelievable. And gun violence right now, you know, seemed like everybody just opened up when Eric Adams became the mayor of the city of New York. It seemed like everybody just, you know, things just, the lid just blew off of everything. And since Eric Adams has been mayor, it seems like the shootings have gone up. And the stray bullets, and you know, you can't even go out anymore. You know, 6 people killed in California. You know, 2 people killed, 6 wounded in another part of the country. It's just outrageous. Like I said, you can't even go out. You can't even go out. Hey, you know, it's that time of the year again, and if you're looking to get your taxes done with that personalized touch, then you should talk to my tax preparer, the person that I use, Aaron Nazar's Tax Service. Aaron Nazar's Tax Service is your tax specialist, and unlike those big assembly line tax preparers, Aaron Nazar's Tax Service will answer all your questions and give your tax returns the attention that they deserve. Conveniently located locally for the folks who are listening around the country. Maybe you can send it to them. At 424 Lakeview Avenue in Clifton, New Jersey. You can give the guy a call, give Jose a call, 862-238-7548. That's 862-238-7548, or it's 201-888-8011. That's 201-888-8011. And when you do, make sure you tell them that you heard about it right here on the Ron Kelly Show for your special discount. So if you don't mention me, you ain't getting no discount. Aaron Nazar's Tax Service should be your new tax preparation specialist. And you ain't got that much time left because tomorrow is the deadline. Tomorrow is April 15th. Now, I don't know if they extended it or whatever because of the COVID. But yeah, tomorrow is April 15th. So tomorrow is the deadline. So if your taxes ain't done by now, you better be working on them. You know, seems like the COVID is coming back. Just when we seem like we get out of this COVID, or not get out of it, but get to a good place, boom, here goes another variant. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Thank you, Suzanne Newman, who says that it's the 18th, which will be Monday. Okay, because tomorrow is a bank holiday. All right, so you got a couple of extra days because tomorrow is a holiday for the banks. Okay, so you got an extra day. Thank you, Suzanne Newman, for that information. So, yeah. Thank you for that. And so Easter will be Sunday. So a lot of y'all, the church parking lot's going to be full because, you know, and it's hard to get a haircut the weekend, you know, prior to the weekend, the Easter weekend. It's hard to get a haircut. Very difficult because everybody's going to church, get those outfits, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, 9 minutes before the hour, and everything's just started falling apart. My whiteboard came crashing down. Everything. As soon as I came on the radio and started, you know, talking or whatever, and maybe I shouldn't have went on the radio today. I don't know, but yeah, everything just started falling apart. Yeah, tomorrow is a bank holiday. Okay, got it. Yeah, but this whole thing with this subway shooter just doesn't fit the bill. Thanks, Suzanne, for saying that. Yeah, because usually you expect it to be a white guy. And, you know, and this is a black man, 62 years old. Now, why would... So they went on Facebook and they read some of his work on Facebook, some of the stuff that he was saying. And it just doesn't compute to me. Just doesn't compute. It's 8 minutes before the hour. So yeah, there's a lot going on. The gun violence is out of control in the United States of America, and there's really nothing that nobody can do about it. Now, you have people talking about, you have folks talking about your background checks. See, but the people who, there's a lot of illegal. See, the problem is with the illegal guns, not the legal ones. The problem in America is with the illegal guns, not the legal ones. And, if somebody wants to buy a gun, especially if they're criminal minded, they're not going to obey the law. They're going to buy the gun and stick it in their waistband, and it's going to be, like whatever. It's the people who, law-abiding citizens like myself, who suffer from these laws that keep putting up. And Suzanne Newman says background checks don't stop ghosts. No. So Biden came up with an idea to tell manufacturers of ghost gun packages to put serial numbers on the ghost guns. See, I've said a long time ago that, and I continue to say it, that the Constitution, freedom, maybe America shouldn't be as free as it is. Because with freedom, see, it's like a place like Japan, and I'm not saying in America we should be a communist country, but some of those places you don't have no gun violence at all. They know, that you're going to get the book thrown at you. And the people in China know, the people in Japan know, the people in Russia know. And Japan's not a communist country, but there's hardly any gun violence in many of these countries, hardly any, And here in the United States of America, we got places like Louisiana and some of these other places. Ohio just dropped gun licenses. You can just buy a gun. Now, if you have a record and you get caught, you're going to be in trouble if you have a record. But if you got no record, you can just buy the gun, put it on, and walk around with it. And see, these Second Amendment folks, Republicans mostly, are killing the laws, the gun laws. Here in New York, New Jersey area, which is the hardest, toughest place to get a gun in America, the Supreme Court in October, I believe it is, September, October, will be deciding. They finally decided to hear the case because people have been suing New York and New Jersey for years over the strict gun laws. And the United States Supreme Court has refused to hear those cases until now. So, again, and it's not the legal gun owners. I've owned a gun for years. I've had a gun license to carry a gun for years. I never shot anybody. I never thought about shooting anybody. So it's the criminals that it's the criminals, and because the criminals don't obey the law. If you want a gun, you can go get one. It's easy. You can get a gun and you get a pack of Newports. It's just that easy. Shout out to the people who are listening on Twitter, man. I appreciate you guys. The folks who are listening to the Ron Kelly Show on Twitter and the folks who are listening to the Ron Kelly Show on YouTube. Appreciate you guys. We're going to do a redo of the Ron Kelly Show to make it more palatable for folks. Because I understand it. People are busy and, got stuff to do. So I get it. I totally get it. But, So the gun situation in America is rough. Then the old people, the elderly folks are running up on the sidewalk and running people over who are having a meal at the sidewalk cafe, and elderly white folks mostly, because they refuse to stop driving. And I've said that the people, you can't have somebody 80 years old out there driving because this is 1957. This is 2022, where you got super highways and everybody's speeding and flying around, and I didn't understand there was somebody called me today and told me about a road rage incident that took place and it's not funny, but it took place in Elizabeth, but a lady got ran over by some dude. Just she got out the car. See, that's the last thing you want to do is get out the car. If somebody cut you off, let them cut you off. You know, if somebody's trying to get into the lane in front of you, I always let them go. I let them go. Suzanne Newman says that was horrible. Yeah, because thank God that the girl didn't die. But if somebody's trying to get ahead of you, let them go. You know, if somebody's trying to cut into traffic, I mean, because more often than not, when somebody's trying to cut into traffic, a lot of us will speed up so they can't get in. I mean, for what? Why? Let the person in. I mean, if the traffic is backed up anyway, just let the person come in. What's the problem? You know, Suzanne says the dude hit her trying to back out of traffic. And, yeah, and you know, and it's just call the police. Call the police. Don't get out of your car. Call the police first. You know, and say there's injuries. They'll be there in seconds. Yeah, I didn't get the full story, but Suzanne Newman says she got out to take pictures. I heard a whole totally different story. I think it's on RLS Media because that's the second. And so he chased and ran her down. Yeah, that's just now that part I did hear, but the part about there being an accident, I didn't actually hear that. Okay, it's a minute left, everybody. So I want to thank you for your indulgence. For the 3 folks who listen to the Ron Kelly Show. I want to thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you back here next Thursday evening. Oh, no, you won't. Well, yeah, you will. Yeah, I'll be on vacation, but I'll be back from Florida. And, yeah, getting on the plane Saturday. See ya. The 80-degree weather. Well, actually, it's in the 60s right now. But, yeah. So thank everybody for watching the Ron Kelly Show, for your support over the years. We'll see you back here next Thursday for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show. So until then, I like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And don't get out of your car. And we may not have together, but together we can certainly have it all. Thank you so much. And I think I am done.